Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the KCG GT Legacy event at Suzuka. And we are right in qualifying already. However, that's still enough time to get through what we're gonna do today. We have, as usual in the GT Legacy series, old GT3 cars from around 2013 to 16 or 15. And we also have a lot of familiar names again on track, which is very cool to see. We will drive 2 hours at Suzuka, which completes the continental, I don't know how we should call it, but basically we've been to every continent that's represented in Race Room. And I also have a pretty cool announcement later on for the next event, because that's gonna be a very, very special one. So make sure not to miss that one. However, to the event, as said, we are already in qualifying. And if we take a look at the standings, we can see it's Colin Blankenburg on top with a 201.0. Qualifying Luca D'Amico topped the timing table, but he's currently sitting in P2. And we, as usual, have a very tight midfield with Radoslav Kwiatkowski currently in P3 in the roof. We, of course, due to obvious reasons, rarely see a Porsche or a roof. The 991 Porsche, that is. But it's very nice to see one, especially in the Haribo livery. For those who follow KCG for a longer time, they maybe know that João Casaheira used the Haribo livery on the old AMG GT3 and actually won race number 2, I think it was, in season 1 in this AMG with the Haribo livery, which was a very exciting race as well back then. So even though it's probably not on purpose by the Polish driver, it's very nice to see. It's kind of an homage. And then, as said, it's very tight. We have the 2 AMGs, or Mercedes SLS, better said, of Ricardo Rebello and Gaspar Misch in 4th and 5th. And then we have a group of BMW Z4s with Jiri Kartoffel, Dave Siska and McKenna. Jiri Kartoffel was very strong in practice, so I'm very much looking forward to what he can do in this race. Then we have the first of 2 Ford GTs. We haven't seen a Ford GT that often in GT Legacy so far, so it's nice to see one. Driven by Thorsten Leber, who's also back for this event. Then František Stovko in the Corvette. That's behind is Gaspar Misch. In a very fitting livery, I'd say. Of course, with the rising sun on the white background. In general, quite a few people have resolved to using different liveries for this occasion. And last but not least, Oriol Barmana hasn't set a lap time yet, but also on a Ford GT. And the livery actually matches the one from Dave Siska, because if you compare the color schemes, you might notice they are from the same team. I think this car also won the Spa 24-hour race in 2012 or 13. Something along those lines. So yeah, that's the drivers for today. We still have a few that should be coming our way. Bastiano Rossi already said he will join a bit later, but he will join. And he's in a Nissan. Of course, can't have a Japanese race without a Nissan on the grid. Should also be the first time we see a Nissan since, I think, Bathurst. Not Bathurst, I'm sorry, since Brands Hatch. That was driven by Luca, I think. Let me quickly double check that. Now it was driven by Ivan Lukic. who I'd also very much would be looking forward to see again on track, because he's a very cool guy. Also, Colin Blankenburg, for the first time in the GT Legacy races, I think, in a McLaren and not in a Rover SLS. Also with a very nice livery, of course, with the dragon on the side, on this chrome background. You gotta like chrome to like this livery, I guess, but it's kinda cool that he chose this one. Currently also on a purple lap time. Half a tenth down in Sector 1. Should now be approaching the Sector 2 lap timing line. Now out of spoon. This is now Sector 2. It seems like it was invalidated because it doesn't show any time. He also backed out for the 130R. Yeah, you have a great view onto the big, really big rear. What was it called? It has a special name, I think. And then you have this long stretch into the first corner, which is actually just named first corner. But in those cars, trail braking into that turn is something different, I think. It's very cool, very rewarding. Oh, it's of course also a bit tricky. Still about 10 minutes of qualifying left, so everyone can get in 3 or 4 laps. Meanwhile, Luca De Amico, 1/10 down only on Colin Blankenburg. So he improved by a lot. This lap time won't cut it. Did a mistake somewhere, but that was a big jump by him. Cutting down 5/10 of his lap time. And if we take a look at P4 to P7, we have 4 cars within 2/10. P9 to P11 also in 3/10, including P12. Of course, the qualifying position OS. Then we touches a bit of grass, then Rian steps out. But of course, very strategic race. I think we might see more one-stop strategies, as we've already seen in Bathurst, with quite a few drivers opting for that one. But we've also seen Sven Mattenberg, who chose to change rear tires, and in the end it paid off big time. But of course the Mustang is a bit different to most other cars, so it will be quite interesting to see. Suzuka is tire demanding, but also isn't one-sided like other tracks, as it has this neat figure 8, or yeah, pretty much figure 8 track layout. So the tire wear is pretty much even. So Akademico puts it back into the pits. Maybe he's going for another run. So Ricardo Rebello's now coming across the line to start his next flying lap. Can maybe go on board with him. Seems like he's running a bit more TC. Different sectors of the track will also highly favor some cars, of course. The old cars are much more driven by their characteristics. Of course, the BOP brings them closer together, but still the Bentley will be strong in the straight line. Meanwhile, got permission now across the line and into third position. But of course, the roof, for example, will be sprung out of those kind of turns. So the hairpin, possibly also out of the second deck now. And of course the Casio triangle, the chicane at the end of the track. But it might struggle in the first sector with the many long stretched turns. So overall it evens out, of course, but during the lap in a fight, you may see a lot of maneuvers being done because the cars are just that different in their characteristics. A car like the McLaren is probably one of the more balanced cars. Same goes for the Ford GT. Ford GT used to be a very good car in the ranked races as well. A couple of years ago at this stage, but was during the times where the R8 Evo and stuff were still new, so 2021, something like this. There the Ford GT was actually quite competitive on a track like Suzuka. Nowadays, of course, nowhere near the times of a 296. Or anything like that. Colin Blancbourg now braking for Spoon. Very tricky corner in my personal opinion. I know many people have less problems than I do with this turn. I just lack reference points for it. Of course, the McLaren 650S, one of the more heavily BOP cars due to its speed. It's one of the newer GT3s in the GT Legacy series. But that makes it pretty much OP compared to a car like the Z4. The SLS is a bit older, of course, but it's also very much OP, and it was also very OP back then. In some capacity. So that's why some cars have this much weight and power reduction to them. Same goes for the Bentley. Cars like the Z4, the P45, which is driven by Master Löcken. The Ford GT, they are much more together, much closer together in terms of the performance they can deliver. We also have the Corvettes, of course. It's also quite BOP'd. Of course, was always competitive on tracks like Daytona and other fast tracks, even with newer GT3s, or especially with new GT3s due to the power advantage it has. Even though the Camaro might arguably be a bit stronger due to its bigger fuel capacity. Meanwhile, we are getting close to the end of the session, and it seems like people are getting ready for their final laps. So Kwiatkowski is now braking for the chicane to start his last flying lap. In front we can see the Ford GT of Thorsten Leber. But Radoslav Kwiatkowski is actually aborting this lap. Not sure. Jump on board with Thorsten Leber. This will be one of my favorite GT cars of all time. Even though you have to be a bit creative with the setup to get the most out of it. Then it can be an absolute weapon in this category. Even though on some tracks like Watkins Glen, you have barely any chance. There you can really feel the limitations of this mid-engine layout, because they're not as covered by other advantages like it does in a 488, for example, or in an R8. This car then really is bleeding lap time on the track. And Colin Blankenburg just went a bit quicker yet again. Couldn't get past the 2:01 lap time. So that's still very impressive. And Riccardo Rebello also put it in third. Means 2 AMGs, oh, it wasn't AMG I think, but 2 Mercedes on the second row right now. Thorsten Leber now approaching 130R. With 1 minute to go in this session. Braking hard. This is now one of the better turns for the GT. And out of the final turn, across the line, what will it be? Will it be an improvement for him? Indeed it is, and he goes up into 9th position. And there we have our results from qualifying. It's Colin Blankenburg in front of Luca D'Amico, who's leading the 2 Mercedes SLS of Riccardo Rebello, Gaspar Radoslav Kwiatkowski, even though he had a strong opening session, down into 5th, and then followed by, actually, Erik Hottefeld just got past Makena, it seems like. And then Siska, so still the 3 BMWs from P6 to P8, followed by the 2 GTs, and then the P45 of Marcel Lurken, followed by the Corvette of František Stovko. So now we have 5 minutes of warm-up. And also welcome Mike to the chat. Yeah, I completely understand your point of view. But yeah, of course you would have been competitive, that's why we said you don't need that much practice. Fortunately, Sebastiano Rossi won't be able to join us today, which is a big shame. Alright, so the qualifying positions are sorted. See who's on track. Kademiko. Of course, now with more fuel in the car, does feel quite a bit different, especially in a car like the Bentley with 135 fuel liter capacity. Also practicing that pit entry is quite important on Suzuka because it has a very long pit entry line. You accelerate for the long time, then have to brake very hard. So it's a track where you can easily speed in the pit lane, giving you a drive-through penalty. As you can see, Thorsten Leber also practicing the engine. Hitting the wall as well, you don't want to do that in a race. If you are not part of KCG yet and you want to not miss any further action, let it be in Race Room or in Rangeboard, because next week we will resume with Season 1 of the KCG Rangeboard League. You can actually not see the code because I can't show it right now. However, in the description is the link to the Discord. Everything is handled through there, so make sure to check it out if you haven't yet. And as said, next week we will go back to the TCR or Touring Car World Tour on Rangeboard, where we will be heading to America, to Road Atlanta. Just been to Asia, in Singapore on the streets of Orchard. And after that we will have the season finale in Italy, in Monza. Very much looking forward to that. I've not decided yet what the next season will be, but I have an idea. And in terms of Race Room, in 3 weeks, so that's already set in stone, in 3 weeks we will have the next event. More about that later in this race. As people now get their last few laps. And yeah, that's of course no issue if you don't have to participate or something. But I think it's worth giving it a try. But a lot is also down to FFB settings, of course. It's still in beta. It's not a complete product, so setting up and stuff is quite important. Colin Blancmuck is getting used to the drifting mechanics of his car. And the clock has run out for the warm-up. And there we go. Of course, we will have the formation lap. So no one off the line as we had last time in Zolder. There you can see the current track and air temperatures as well as the weather, which is not surprising in Race Room at this stage. But the drivers are getting ready to get on the grid, make maybe final adjustments to the car and strategy. And we should go into the formation lab in just a moment. And there we have them. Colin Blancmuck will lead them on this opening lap. People are a bit eager to get going with that, but it's not an issue. Of course, also with the older cars, it's very important to get the tire temperature in on a track like Suzuka, which is a bit longer. You definitely have more chance to do so. Also by nature, of course, helps with tire temperature. So for that turn 1, getting the brakes up to temperature might be very crucial, so you don't slide out of the turn, go in too wide. So now go through the second deck, now through the tunnel. You can see very different strategies to getting the tires heated up. There's no Kimmy in the field to just go straight. It's a thing I'm very proud of in KCG, that we can do stuff like this, which even in the esports levels, as DTM does it, sometimes doesn't work. So now go through the spoon. You can see the two Mercedes being a bit more aggressive on the tire heater. And they will go double file after the chicane. Colin Blankenburg will sort himself to the left, as you are probably used to. And there we go, double file now all the way to the line. Colin Blankenburg will be the one to call the start. Call it green. Yes, now the opportunity to start the race. And he does. It's a good getaway by Luca D'Amico. A bit of trouble behind between the BMWs. I think that was here Kartoffel not getting a good start there. It's Colin Blankenburg keeping it in front though. And the two GTs. Oh, and that's oil by mana round in turn 1. But Thorsten Leber with a huge start up into P7 already. And let's see Kartoffel off once more. Is there contact? Just a bit with Thomas Marquet now. Joshua Misch was able to get into 3rd position. The start was Kwiatkowski kept it in 5th. Dave Siska and Thorsten Leber definitely, and Marcel Löckner of course, the ones to profit in this opening phase of this race. The blue 4GT and the yellow P45 also looking strong here. Oh, and Marcel Löckner going on the grass there. Just to seek for a way to get past his German colleague. Very aggressive on the throttle there. Oil Bermana was also able to recover from his spin, so he's 6 seconds behind. And up front, it's Luca D'Amico chasing down Colin Blankenburg. The Bentley having the upper hand on strategy, so whatever we see now in terms of fighting, this will not be directly showing the final result, because the Bentley can gain a bit on fuel mileage. Thomas Marquena having a look down the inside of the Kartoffel, backs out of it though. Marcel Löckner is looking strong here to get that P7. And also Radoslav Kwiatkowski very close to Ricardo Rebello. Ricardo Rebello defending to the inside. Radoslav Kwiatkowski breaking late, bit of contact. They already had a lot of contact in the Zolder 3X20 3 weeks ago. And here they find themselves again. Of course, both cars with very different strength. Oh, and Ricardo Rebello goes a bit wide there. Can recover from it though. In terms of Marcel Löckner and Thorsten Leber, the cars are fairly equal. Possibly the 4GT has a bit more power. They will be quite similar in performance across the lap, across the sectors. Thorsten Leber seems to be struggling a bit. Dave Siska also holding on to a strong start, keeping up with Radoslav Kwiatkowski. But up front, Luca D'Amico still holding strong to that P2. Keeping Colin Blankenburg within a reachable distance. And you can see on that straight how much he's reeling him in. Władysław Kwiatkowski, 2/10 down only. And Erich Kartoffel is also looking strong on Marcel Leckenroth, has lost a lot of ground. Looks like he had an off track. Oh, and Colin Blankenburg into the pits. Did he not put in race fuel? Is he on quali-fuel? That would be huge implication. Oh, and Władysław Kwiatkowski braking too late in the slipstream of Ricardo Rebello, going wide in turn 1 across the gravel. Coming back into the track now, so it seems to be fine for his car, but what's happened with Colin Blankenburg? Did he possibly get a drive through? Unfortunately, can't check that. Would get here at the start or jump the start. And Luca D'Amico now leading this race with 4 seconds already. And what happened with Colin Blankenburg? Pit stop would have cost him more time, I think. It's Makena now down the inside of Löcken. Löcken goes very wide. Can't defend from the Spaniard. And he's up into P7. But Thorsten Leber is running in P5 now due to all of that. Dave Siska in P4. And the two Mercedes possibly profited the most with Luca D'Amico, because they're running second and third now. And Colin Blankenburg has to fight through traffic now. On the inside of the Corvette, Stovko, bit of contact there. Rough GT racing, I'd call that. Of course, Colin Blankenburg with a huge pace advantage, as he's shown in the qualifying session, but still you have to get past. And get past in a clean way as well. So right there. But that was a very odd situation there. Thorsten Leber now threatening. No, he got passed by Erich Kartoffel. So Erich Kartoffel up into P5. Now Makena's looking very strong there. To also get past the 4GT, and in the rearview mirror of all of that you can already see Colin Blankenburg knocking on the door of Władysław Kwiatkowski. Trying the switchback there. Not quite enough to get the overlap. Now 6-car train we have here. Oh, Thorsten Leber goes a bit wide. Does it open the door for Thomas Makena? Yes, it does. Can he get the drive out of Spoon? Not quite. The 4GT is powering down the straight now. Also, Kwiatkowski is also putting up a solid defense against Colin Blankenburg there. Oh, and that was Thorsten Leber again going a bit wide now. Makena to the outside. Compromised line there for Leber through the chicane. Not a good drive out of the final turn. Oh, and we have František Stovko spun in the last turn. And now Władysław Kwiatkowski is threatening Marcel Löcken. Oh, and Leber got wide. And that now means Marcel Löcken can slip it through. Can Władysław Kwiatkowski also slip through? They are side by side into the S's. Oh, and Leber onto the curbing. Lost the car, over-rotated. And that's 4 positions lost in 3 turns. But he's still on the road, and that's important. But Colin Blankenburg still behind Władysław Kwiatkowski. The longer he's staying behind them, the more time the leading pack has to build up a gap. Colin Blankenburg has had a good exit though, they are side by side. Into the hairpin. Colin Blankenburg just outbraking Władysław Kwiatkowski there. I think Władysław also not trying anything that he couldn't pull off. He knows that Colin is a very fast driver, of course. Oh, and that's Marcel Löcken going wide. Colin Blankenburg to the inside. McLaren should have a bit more power than the P45. And there he goes, outside of 130R. Władysław Kwiatkowski now, also trying to get past Marcel Löcken. Had a good exit. And Marcel Löcken also not over defending there. That's Colin Blankenburg up into P7. That's of course far from over. Fighting. Next up is Thomas Makena on the board of Colin Blankenburg. And the other 2 Z4s as well, but both Dave Siska and Neil Kartoffel are looking very good, Makena as well. Because if they hadn't been compromised on the start, I'm not sure what exactly happened there, it was hard to see. Oh, and Colin Blankenburg into the back of Makena. But not too big of an issue. But of course they kind of compromised each other, not too sure what happened. There was contact at the start and Rick Kartoffel not having a good start at all, and Makena going wide there. That allows Colin Blankenburg to slip through the inside. But Rick Kartoffel not having a good start. The only one who really had a good start was Dave Siska, and that really shows. He's nearly 3 seconds ahead of his Czech colleague. Meanwhile, the gap from Luca D'Amico to Gashpamish, 10 seconds. It's a whole lot. Władysław Kwiatkowski was able to just chase the cars Colin Blankenburg has overtaken. Oh, and you can see Colin Blankenburg drifting up Dunlop. Had a good exit now, out of deck now, side by side. Now on the outside line, of course, this will come the inside line. Just locks him out of the apex. Gets a good drive and lets him up into P5. Good move there. It's also allowed Thomas Makena to get closer to his BMW. I think they're both Schnitzer cars as well. To his BMW compatriot. So we are 1/8 of the way through. Oh, and Makena going right onto the grass. Keeps it on track, but now Radoslav Kwiatkowski with a much better exit, of course. Up into P7. Can Makena fight back? Both are not the most powerful cars on the straight. And that's Riccardo Rebello there. He's having an issue. That's Radoslav Kwiatkowski going in the lead, but what exactly happened to Riccardo Rebello? It's just driving very slowly. It's hard to tell what happened. It doesn't show me any collision or anything of that type. Did he maybe underfuel his car? Not get in race fuel? Because he's lifting a lot, he's just coasting through. So you can hear. No, at the same time he's also on the rev limiter. There goes Uri Barmana now up into P10. Oh, and that's Riccardo Rebello parked in the gravel at the exit of deck now. Car's still driving, but as soon as I have more info on that, I will tell you, but I'm not sure what happened. I've never seen something like that before in Colin Blankenburg doing the BMW M4 cosplay on Dave Siska. Dave has definitely to watch out to not be sniffed by that McLaren. Oh, and Marcel Löcken is the DNF. He disconnected from the server, fortunately. And that's Colin Blankenburg up into the podium positions once more. But now a 12-second gap between D'Amico and Gaspar Misch and a 5-second gap from Colin Blankenburg to Gaspar Misch. Erich Kartoffel now threatening P5. Position where he started. But what happened to Riccardo Rebello? He seems to be driving normally again. Maybe it was also an issue outside the game. Some refer to that as real life, I think. Not that knowledgeable in that though. I rather stick to driving cars in circles in a video game. But Radoslav Kwiatkowski really looking strong in those technical sections, I think. But as things have calmed down a bit now, we can maybe take a look at lap times, and also people are starting to get a drive in clean air. Up front, also the fastest lap of the race so far. It's a 2:01.97 by Luca D'Amico. And that's nearly 2 seconds faster than Gaspar Misch's best lap time, and 1 second faster than Colin Blankenburg's best lap time, but of course Colin Blankenburg in traffic throughout the whole race so far. Or since his drive-through, like I said. most people drive around a 205, 204.4. Gaspar last lap time 204.8. Colin Blankenburg 202.2. But the rest is pretty much 204 flat to 205.5. And unfortunately, Master Löcken, I think that's a different way of saying the game crashed due to GPU shortage. My English really declined over the last 2 weeks, I feel. However, yeah, very unfortunate. Recovery Bello seems to be back up on pace to the fullest. 203.6 the last lap time. Let's see what he can do in this race now. Whatever happened earlier on, it's a bit weird. Maybe an issue with the Simric, who knows. And House of Yakuza really lost a lot of time there to Iri Kartoffel, but Iri Kartoffel himself gained a lot of time to Dave Siska out of this sudden. But it's Luca de Amico leading the way. Setting one strong lap time after another. Last lap at 202 flat. Only 300ths of a second slower than his personal best. And Colin Blankenburg getting closer to Gaspar Misch. See if Gaspar will put on the defense. It's, I think, unlikely. He's not one who's usually defending from someone like Colin Blankenburg or Yuval Rosen. But maybe for a bit of banter, there's always a chance. You can also see in the background that Radoslav Piatkowski has closed the gap to Kartoffel once more. Just a little look down the inside. Kartoffel actually gets a bit out of shape there. It's not enough though. Gary Kartoffel also slowly getting closer to Dave Siska. Became a fairly consistent gain. It was quite erratic before, where he was still fighting with Radoslav Piatkowski, but now at this stage, Gaspar Misch to the inside. Of course, lets Colin through. And now, gap between Luca D'Amico and Colin Blankenburg. 18 seconds. The lap times seem to be about identical between the two of them. The Bentley possibly having an advantage in terms of fuel. Colin Blankenburg could maybe go a tenth or two per lap faster. So it is very much possible for Colin to catch up to Luca D'Amico. For sure. But he also needs to have luck. He needs to have luck that Luca might be stuck in traffic for a bit and he doesn't. That the strategy doesn't gain Luca this much time. Of course the Bentley is BOP'd in the way that the strategy will equal out over the race. Otherwise he would be as fast as all the other GT3s and gain 4 or 5 seconds possibly in the pits. So Luca D'Amico and Colin Blankenburg fairly equal on pace as drivers, both very, very fast drivers. Oh, and Irikatov going right there into the gravel trap. Radoslav Piatkowski uses the situation and gets passed into P5. Make quick use out of that. However, of course, look at Mikon Kolmronburg as said, fairly equally skilled drivers. But the Bentley being a bit slower on pace by design of this BOP. I'm not sure what you were referring to. Fortunately, I have short-term memory loss, so I kind of have to figure out what you are referring to in terms of meaning. Do you mean in terms of the BOP? Radoslav Piatkowski is looking very good on pace though. 203.4 last time around. 203.3 best lap time overall. It's a couple of tenths faster than Gaspar Misch's best lap time. And the gap is not that big. It's around 67 seconds. So if he can get past Dave Siska in time, he might be able to catch up to the Mercedes and have a shot at the podium. So we have two fights currently going on track. One between Dave Siska and Radoslav Piatkowski for P4. The other one may have just dissolved for a time because Makena didn't have a good sector 3 on this lap. Lost some time to Kartoffel, but still in a good distance. Meanwhile, up front, Colin Blankenburg is gaining in big steps sometimes. It's now down to 15.7 seconds. A couple of laps, about 18 seconds. Look at how aggressively Radoslav is now pushing Dave Siska. Trying to force an error. Dave Siska has shown time and time again, for example in Bathurst, that he can keep up the nerves. When he had a charging Gaspar Misch in his mirrors for P3, and he held on to that podium. In general, I talked with a few people recently, and Dave Siska just made such a big step as a driver when he came to KCG. And before that, even, and the driver he is now, you wouldn't recognize them on the way they drive. And this is just great to see, and we are very proud to have him in this league. because he's proven that he has improved a lot and that he's a very capable and fair driver. He also knows where to position his car. And this is, I think, a bit much for a good shot into turn 1, so it won't be a safe pass. Maybe a little dive down the inside might be possible, but doesn't seem like it. He does show himself in the mirrors. Of course, he's not going for anything too outrageous here. Meanwhile, the 24-hour Nürburgring qualifiers are also on their final lap. If you're interested in that, the Falcon Porsche leading and another Falcon Porsche in P3. Something that I like to see. But both Siska and Piatkowski are slowly gaining on Gashpamish. So also for the BMW driver, there's still a good shot at the podium if it continues like that. You can also see the very different lines taken by the cars, depending on their characteristics. And also Makena got past here Kartoffel at some stage. That was the last lap, I think. So here Kartoffel went off track just recently. But the roof, of course, being rear-engined, you dive into the turn in as sharply as possible, get the car rotated, and then power out of the turn. While in the BMW, you preserve a lot more speed, trying to keep the average speed up high. That's where you can see Radoslav getting this close in between the corners. This time he is very close. See if it's enough. There's this guy to the middle of the road. Piatkowski does himself for the outside and turns in. I think there was also a bit of understeer on the BMW. But big contact there. Radoslav Piatkowski losing 2 positions. Siska 1 to Makena, but both of course losing a lot of time. Doesn't seem like there's too much damage to either of the cars, but that was far from the ideal situation. Of course, a situation that will be looked at after the race. Radoslav Piatkowski was also lucky that both Makena and Kartoffel saw him there on the outside of the track, as he came to a stop in a situation where you don't want to stop, on the exit curb of the first turn. And this is how fast things can change. That's now Makena into P4. This guy in P5. And Kartoffel close behind in P6. So it looked like a very unfortunate situation. Oh, and Kartoffel to the inside of Siska. Bit of contact there side by side, but Siska just didn't get a good exit there. So maybe hop on board with him, see if the steering wheel is correctly aligned and stuff, but it seems good. Seems to be going just fine. Yeah, Colin Blankburg still sitting on that 16-second deficit. So he's not making big gains. While Luca D'Amico is increasing on pace, down to 107 is true, or 10 2017. It's a bit tricky if the sentence starts with 2 and the lap time starts with 2 as well, just a different word. Cisco, of course, not giving up yet on that position. Will be very interesting once strategy comes back into play. I think some people, as said previously, will only change fuel or refuel, not change tires. Some people will only change 2 tires. Will be tricky to say if we see 4 tire changes on Suzuka. Maybe on some cars it's worth it, but it will set you back around 30 seconds. Kwiatkowski rapidly making up time to the BMWs again though. But that said, the BMWs steadily moved up. They were 7th to 9th, 6th to 8th on the grid. And now they are sitting in 4, 5, 6. So they all made up 2 positions basically. Seems like for the first time really in this race, things have really calmed down. Blanc has lost another second to Luca D'Amico, as it seems. However, that now gives me a bit of time to talk about the next event, perhaps. So, for those who follow KCG for a longer time, from the start of Season 1 to be exact, they will have seen quite the history of this league. I think we've come a long way overall. Started with your typical GT3 leagues, expanded that, at some point implemented the rolling starts, which to this day are, like, I think a big point in KCG, of course, is the stewarding, the post-race stewarding, and all that kind of stuff. And actually, in 3 weeks, so at the beginning of May, we will have our 3-year anniversary. The first race in KCG was in Season 1, Race 1 at Silverstone, historic, with GT3s of the time that we had available in the game. Well, 3 years ago, of course. And it was on the 6th of May. And we will have a special event for this anniversary. As said, in 3 weeks. So on the 4th of May. And we will run, of course, the combination that started everything, that started it all, which is Silverstone Historic Grand Prix with the cars that we had available for Season 1. And of course I also have a trailer to show you. And we will be right back with the racing action, and for now enjoy what's coming next. the KCG Season 2 champion, Christopher Werner, wins race number 6. He is the mini Season 1 champion. Sven Markenberg is the KCG Season 3 champion. It's Ilya Dovosukov on top once more.
Mr. Haribo himself is gonna win this race tonight.
Marvin Bettenberg comes in second to win over his brother by 1 single point.
Strong Haribo was absolutely dominating today.
And Florian Arendt comes across the line. Colin Blankenburg comes out of the final turn. Yuval Rosen takes the checkered flag. But Luca D'Amico in first place. Robert Wiesenmüller winning the GT Legacy event at Sonoma.
And Schau Kastnerka is...
Not yet.
Oh!
Oh, and down the middle the two go. What a... Greta is out. Keeping it around the outside, now on the inside.
I think Florian may have it here.
Sven Markenberg trying to follow Emmanuel Lopez. Oh, following losing control. Oh, hitting Sven and Christian in the wall. With so much action.
Is he going to be able to make it around the outside? What an overtake by Sven Markenberg.
Can Marvin Markenberg overtake Robert Wiesenmüller in the final lap?
Oh, Christian Kröte has to defend here against the Lotus.
Parking it, and now Frank von Roos alongside for the left-hander.
Oh, double side by side.
So, yeah, we will have a lot of time to have a bit of nostalgia in 3 weeks' time. Of course, as said, we will drive the GT3s, which are a bit different from the GT Legacy cars, of course, because we have cars like the R8 available. Even the R8 Evo was out back then already. And during the creation of the trailer and the general planning of the event, it's just crazy to think about how often KCG was actually close to being stopped and stuff, and I'm just glad it didn't. That we never stopped. And events like this just prove why we are doing this. And also now with recently expanding to Mainboard, I think that we have a lot coming. Even though I can never promise, of course, anything. Meanwhile, Ricardo Bello is now closing up 2P10, which is currently front stack stuff goal. So he came back from his very weird lap, to say it like that. Very much looking forward to getting to know what happened there. But now in the slipstream of the Corvette. Sovka also driving a very solid race so far. Haven't seen many mistakes by him, except for that one spin at the last chicane. But apart from that, very good run there so far. Colorado getting a bit loose there on the exit. Don't think that's very surprising in the Mercedes. Going a bit deep though. Gap between Luca D'Amico and Colin Blancbook up front, still 16 to 17 seconds. Okay, now also not closing in on Gashfinish that much. Slowly creeping in on him, for sure, but it's not making as big of a gain as Cutoff and Siska did earlier in this race. But also we are coming close to the end of the first stint. So it won't be that much time left until we see the first people coming into the pits. And see them shuffled up. We have a train of 3 forming. Of course with Kartoffel and Siska, but Władysław Kwiatkowski is right there again. Siska struggling a bit through Spoon there. Carlo now very close to Stavko. He's going for a move into the hairpin. Oh, braking on the grass. You can see the car started rotating there to the right hand side. Was able to correct the slide though. If he would have, he may have also hit Stravko. So good thing that this hasn't happened. Now look at this slight speed advantage for the roof, both on slipstream of course. You can also see how much more understeer Władysław Kwiatkowski has under us there. And for the roof, I'm not sure how the tires behave. If you can change fronts only, for example, without messing up the complete balance. Possibly if he can't get past within the next few laps, he will also resort to the undercut. Even though it's also hard to tell if the roof can really do an undercut. Maybe it will also be an overcut. We have seen that in Bathurst, I think. Carabello now down the inside, on the hairpin, and over the grass. Was a bit close on the exit there. He has a hard time finding his way through on the Czech driver. Next try for Władysław Kwiatkowski. Doesn't get close enough though. Let's see what Ricardo Rubello can do on this lap. Oh, has now a good exit. Stavko on the curb. Ricardo Rubello down the inside. That was beautifully set up there by the Portuguese driver. Very well executed. Can Stavko fight back in the slipstream? Has a good run to the outside. Rubello good on the brakes. Oh, and Stavko has to avoid a bit of contact there, but I think both braked a bit too late there. Let's look back at our trio. Oh, and Oil by Mana has just DNF'd. Seems like. I missed it completely, but it seems like he just did so. But he DNF'd on his own terms without a disconnect. I'm unsure what this is about. We'll just double check. It actually was very recently that he DNF'd. I think he was running in P9. But as of Pietkowski again, Slipstream just can't get close enough. They're both losing a bit of time to Yuri Kartoffel up front. Look back, the fight for P5. I have to double check one result from Colin Blankenburg in a race that was already quite long ago, racing in 350. Because I was just looking up his results. He's had 2 P2s so far. One at the Laguna Seca 200, where he had that fight with Yuval Rosen in the McLaren 720S. And the other one was at the Racing Green 350 in the BMW M4 GT4 class, where he came second to Marvin Mattenberg, I think it was. Sven won the Praga class, Marvin won the GT4 class in that race. It's already quite long ago. Oh, and Radoslav Piatkowski, I completely missed that. Stationary in the exit of Dunlop. And Jiri Kartoffel also in a collision. I was just completely focusing on other stuff. Let me just double check what happened there. So it was Jiri Kartoffel losing control in Dunlop and Radoslav Piatkowski not having any chance to avoid him. Because that promotes Dave Siska into 5th position now. Very unfortunate for Radoslav Piatkowski. Seems like there also is not major damage to both cars. Though the Kartoffel looks a bit like he is traveling a bit, but that might also mislead in terms of visuals, but what an unfortunate contact. Yeah, Kartoffel of course couldn't do much in that case. He was just trying to keep it straight, hold it on track. It was not like he did an unsafe rejoin. There was not the time to rejoin anyway in that moment. But for Władysław Kwiatkowski, no time to react. Also couldn't really see it due to the Z4 in front of him. And that's how fast it can go. But we have 5 minutes until we are halfway in this race. So I think Luca D'Amico will stay out as long as possible. He will run well into the second stint, or in the second half of the race. Not too sure about Colin though. So the two who profited the most so far in this race are of course Makena and Siska, both making up 3 positions. Siska really had to fight for it. Of course with the contact from Władysław Kwiatkowski into turn 1, fighting back. Władysław Kwiatkowski now 12 seconds down. Let's hope there's not, I'm sorry, too much damage to the back end of the Porsche, or to the roof, I'm sorry. Because of course the rear engine cars in this game are easily damageable with, well, a following engine reduction or power reduction. So let's see, next lap will be halfway point. And Władysław Kwiatkowski is into the pits. First car to come into the pits. Let's keep an eye on it, if he will change tires or not. Thorsten Leber, meanwhile, having a silent race in 7th currently. To the pit stop from Władysław Kwiatkowski. He's having a good race. And Władysław Kwiatkowski, I'm sorry, only changing fonts. That's interesting. That's what I talked about earlier. So apparently it is very much possible, but he's just trying to get into the blue. But if it works, it might well be a good strategy like Sven did in Bathurst, with only changing rears on the Ford Mustang. Might also well be that the car's already set up for it, as we've seen him quite understeery in nature through faster turns, especially the S's in the first sector. So let's keep an eye on that. Maybe he will do quite a big undercut, depending on what the others will do. And there we can see Colin. It's also, of course, a call you have to make. Do you let Colin by and try to hang on to the slipstream? I mean, Colin is quite a fast guy. Or do you try to keep it in front of him to not get the blue flags? Possibly lose time, even though not every time it's in your hands to decide that. In all fairness, they are also sitting in a voice chat, so together with Gaspar Misch. course, the good old timer going back to minutes, even though it's still 1 hour and 1 minute 45 to go. With Stovko and Luka D'Amico stay out for another lap. So I don't think anyone else will come in before the halfway point has been passed. Let's check in on Gaspar Misch maybe, because he's being chased down by Thomas McKenna step after step. It's 3.5 seconds the gap. And it has declined steadily. So the Spaniard really looking strong for podium position if he can keep up that consistency. So staying out, of course. We have officially passed halfway point. Kartoffel kind of having not the greatest exit there. Oh, but that's Dave Siska. Right at the halfway point, coming into the pits. So he's the first one of the BMWs to come into the pits. See with Thorsten Leber, he's also coming in now. It would be important for them to not get adverse to penalty. Let's check in on Władysław Pietkowski. Colin Blankenburg has lapped him. Can see how much more rotation Władysław Pietkowski has. There's Siska changing fronts. Can we maybe check in on Thorsten Leber as well? What he does? Is Siska now rolling again? Coming up behind Stovko. Thorsten Leber also going for fronts only. It will promote Władysław Pietkowski back up into P9. On 12 seconds to get to Dave Siska. And welcome Dirk and Mike to the stream. And yeah, KCG is still going. So now McKenna is coming into the pits. Gaspar Misch seems to be staying out for another one. Yes, indeed he does. Siri also come into the pits. Yes, he does. They may even come out in front of Riccardo Rebello, who hasn't done a pit stop yet. Only thing they have to hope for is that they won't be stuck in traffic. But Luka D'Amico up front is keeping up the pace. Gap has grown to 18 seconds once again. Which is the same as it was when Colin Blankenburg cleared the traffic after his early drive-through. And Ricardov is dying again, so he didn't change tires. McKenna seems to change all 4 tires, if I see that right. That's very interesting. I'm not sure if that will be worth it. Of course, onto the pits. Because that's Władysław Pietkowski there. We'll see how that strategy will pan out for Thomas Makena. As said, Suzuka is a bit more tire demanding. But changing 4 tires is still a risky call. You know, for Dave Siska now, of course, he came out behind Jiri Kartoffel. But he's better tire, perhaps. Or they both have changed fronts only. Might also be the case. Dave Siska definitely has changed front tires. Don't think that they will be lapped by Colin before he does a pit stop. There's this kind of Kartoffel. These two have fought a lot over the last half an hour, so they definitely know each other at this point very well. And at the same time, they're not fighting each other. They're chasing down this man. That's not their shot with Makena's strategy call. Though he's only 9 seconds behind the two of them. Oh, and Luca D'Amico in the pits. Colin Blankenburg is staying out for another lap. Therefore, he's taking over the lead of the race, but that will probably only last until he does a pit stop. Luca D'Amico, it looks like he's changing front tires. It's hard to tell from that angle. See, Kashmirish stays out. We will see him fly by on the right hand side. There he goes. Kademiko's driving again. That was a very long stop for only 2 tires, so maybe he actually did change 4 tires, which would be very surprising. On the other hand, he had a 17 to 18 second gap to Colin Blankenburg. One set of tires change costs about 15 to 16 seconds. So maybe, overall, he just went for the safe call to change all 4 tires because he has the time. It's basically like a free pit stop in that regard. Now we have Radoslav Pietkowski in striking distance to Thomas Makena. There's this guy also got past here at some point. Doing all of the pit stops. Ricardo Bello still driving, which is also a bit surprising to see, but of course very good. So this time he's effectively making up to the people he's chasing in his position. That fourth Thomas is behaving a bit weird sometimes, I feel like. It's gripping, then braking traction, gripping again. You can see it wiggle through the turns. If you look at Dave Siska and Jiri Kartoffel, they don't really do that. And Colin Blankenburg, already out of the pits, so he only refueled, he didn't change tires. Coming out still in P1 in front of Gaspar Misch, who also hasn't stopped yet. But that completely went by me, that Colin Blankenburg went the pits. Of course, He's 7 seconds in front of Luca D'Amico, but Luca D'Amico has fresh rubber. And he will be absolutely flying now. There's fuel load then on the start of the race. He has to get past Gazpromish first. See how aggressive Radoslav Kwiatkowski is really diving into turn 1. So the gap has already come down by a few tenths. Luca D'Amico has all the time he needs, 50 minutes left in this race. And for how much longer can Gazpromish stay out as well? He will be probably safe for P3. There's this guy's about a minute behind. Radoslav Kwiatkowski. Of course, in that case, Thomas Makena has the better tires. By changing all 4 of them. And Luca D'Amico already in striking distance of Gazpromish. But Thomas Makena with changing 4 tires has the upper hand in that case. Carabello in the pits. Let's see where he comes out. Possibly in front of Thorsten Leber. It's now into the final chicane. Now firing up the engine, starts to roll, and then in the background you were able to see the 4GT. It will be close on pit exit. On the left is Riccardo Rebello out of the pit exit. Toshiba with much more speed. Does come out behind the Mercedes driver though. In that same moment, Luca D'Amico got past Gazpromish for P2. Gazpromish now, of course, also has to come in. .3 seconds. The gap from Luca D'Amico to Colin Blankenburg. Getting close is one thing, getting past is another. But of course, Colin Blankenburg didn't change any tires. Luca D'Amico changed both. Thorsten Leber has a good pace though, he can keep up with Riccardo Bello at the moment. Radoslav Kwiatkowski is always very close into the chicane. But with the fresh rubber on the rear axle, McKenna can have a very good drive out of the final turn. Something that Radoslav Kwiatkowski can't quite match even with that rear engine. Goes a bit wide there though, but not the big chance for Kwiatkowski to slip through. And up front, Luca De Amico. Gaining and gaining on Colin Blankenburg. Now the gap is below 5 seconds. Of course, Luca De Amico's tire advantage will shrink a bit all the time he's gaining. But let's see. Both McKenna and Kwiatkowski are getting close to Kartoffel for P5. So maybe this will result in yet another three-way fight between two BMWs and one roof. Pretty much the same every lap. Thomas McKenna going a bit wide in turn 1, probably because that's his preferred racing line, but Radoslav Kwiatkowski can't make use of that. Best lap times between Colin Blankenburg and Luca De Amico. Luca De Amico best lap time 201.736. Colin Blankenburg 201.750. It's only 14 thousandths between the two of them in their best laps. Fortunately, we don't have any recent lap times from them. They are invalid. Meanwhile, Thorsten Lever is also catching up to Riccardo Rebello. Had a pretty lonely race so far, but maybe this is about to change now. He's looking very good on pace. So possibly Riccardo Rebello didn't change any tires. František Stofko has a moment in turn 1. Driving very cautiously though, so he's not taking too many risks. Of course, he also has 40 minutes to go in this race. Once more, Kwiatkowski so close, but not close enough. But the gap to Kartoffel is only 2.1 seconds. So Luca D'Amico is still gaining on Colin Blankenburg, but the rate he made up the time has decreased a bit. So he's making up a few tenths per lap for sure. But it's not the big steps we saw earlier in the stint. Dave Siska is also gaining on Gaspar Misch. There's still 40 minutes to go. 20 seconds the gap. So half a second per minute he has to make up, or 1 second per lap. I don't think he's catching up at this rate constantly. But if Gaspar Misch were to make a mistake, he's on much older tires, don't forget that. Maybe this would open an opportunity for Dave Siska to get close and maybe have a shot at the podium positions. And then it would again be Gaspar Misch and Dave Siska fighting for P3 in a GT Legacy race. Even though last time it was the other way around, with Misch in 4 and Siska in 3. This is possibly a very good position for Władysław Kwiatkowski though. Of course he can't get past the Spaniard in front of him. But McKenna is not lapping slow, he's still putting on very good lap times. And they are both catching up to Jiri Kartoffel. So maybe he can try to get past Kartoffel with the help of McKenna. And then pass the BMW driver later in this race. Weiß also lost a lot of time to Ricardo Bello, unfortunately. Just got lapped by Colin Blankenburg. And that's Luca D'Amico, just flying through 130R. So you probably have guessed that Colin Blankenburg were to change 2 tires. But the tire advantage here is now down to 2.6 seconds, the gap. Will probably still allow him to get that P1 back, even though getting past Colin is not an easy task, even with the tire advantage. So has to get past Thorsten Leber for now, who of course is a lapped car. It will still cost him a bit of time. Now Thorsten Leber now yields to the outside, gives way fair and square. And in the fight for P5, McKenna is now very close to Jiri Kartoffel, whilst towing Władysław Kwiatkowski. I think Władysław is not liking the Z4 after this race. The amount of times he had to fight with them. Also with different ones. Backing very late. It's the roof. Now in slipstream range. Okay, now slowly reeling in. Kartoffel to the inside. Okay, now on the outside. Can break very late. Can he hang it around the outside? Of course, he has a much better grip, but around the outside it's kind of hard in the GT3s. And Inidiri Kartoffel can stay in front. Oh, and Inidiri Kartoffel a bit wide there. We had that moment before. Didn't end well for Władysław Kwiatkowski. A bit of contact side by side. A bit more contact. Inidiri Kartoffel spinning out. Thomas Makena in the gravel. And Władysław Kwiatkowski up into P5. Was only the slightest of touches, but Daytona 1. It's just so lethal to the car. Fortunately, both are still driving. Can Makena get back up to speed, get close to Władysław Kwiatkowski? Maybe get back that P5. We've seen that Władysław definitely has the pace to go with Makena. Can he maybe also have the pace to build a gap to Makena? And the next few laps will tell. And the gap between Colin Blackmore and Luca D'Amico has come down to 2 seconds. We are approaching 30 minutes to go. So slowly but surely it's time for the finale. Sparks flying there on the back of the 650S when going over the curbs. At Suzuka, mainly people tend to ride very low downforce levels, as we're currently below the trail approaching now. And we've also seen it before, that a lapped car can well maybe the difference. Welcome to the stream, Marvin. Yes, some strange things happened in this race, which I can't fully understand. So Colin apparently got a drive through in the first lap or something. Or didn't fuel up correctly or anything. I can't tell what he did. But he basically had to go to the pits at the end of lap 1 or 2. And ended up in P10. Had to make his way up to traffic. Was 18 seconds behind Luca D'Amico. Didn't change tires, so Colin is still on the old tires. As he now drifts through Degner 2. Luca D'Amico used the situation and changed both tires. So Luca D'Amico on a fully fresh set of tires, which is about 18 to 20 minutes old. So completely breaks into the ABS there. Huge tire advantage, of course, but getting past Colin is also not the easiest task. In general, a lot of oddities in some way, but lots of good fights. Half a second between the two of them. In slipstream range, of course. So possibly once Luca D'Amico gets past Colin Longway, as he now goes a bit wide, possibly didn't anticipate the dirty air to be this much. But once Luca D'Amico gets past Colin Blankenburg, it's possibly GG for Colin. Władysław Kwiatkowski was able to build a gap to Thomas Makena. So the two-tire strategy didn't pan out for the Spaniard. Might have well been a contention for P3 3 actually. They are approaching Ricardo Bello in around sector 2. With this compromised Colin, will allow Colin to gain a bit of slipstream at the exit of the hairpin. Ricardo Bello lets them through before the deck now. Doesn't want to get involved into this. I've seen the tire advantage of Luca D'Amico die off a bit during this stint. Still, of course, the big advantage he has. Has a little look down the inside. Also possibly tries to force Colin into mistake. Which is rarely going to happen, but I think his best shot is to go for a move through slipstream. Look at how big that Bentley is in the slipstream of the McLaren. To the outside of the 130R. Colin Blankenburg just swoops across. Switch back there from Luca D'Amico. To the outside again. Can Colin get it stopped in time to get a good exit for the main straight? Looks like he has. Luca D'Amico in a good position though to slingshot by. Both very powerful cars with the BOP. And Luca D'Amico to the outside, blocked by Colin Blankenburg. But Colin Blankenburg compromises line into turn 1. Luca D'Amico on the inside with the tire advantage. Goes a bit wide but can cope with it. And is past Colin Blankenburg. Colin Blankenburg now into P2. Still pushing, but I don't think with the tires that it will be an easy task to keep up with Luca D'Amico, to keep it close to at least the backstretch, to try something in slipstream. But what a move it was there, and Jiri Kartoffel seems to have had some sort of issue. Maybe a little spin there in the hairpin. But Colin Blankenburg is well keeping up with Luca D'Amico here. Issues. Not sure what this was about. Now approaching Spoon. Probably one of the turns where the fresher tires of the Bentley have the biggest advantage. As you can see, Colin just being dragged out right into the turn. Lost possibly 4/10 in that turn alone. And unless Luca D'Amico does a mistake now, it seems like he cleared Colin Blankenburg for good. 1.1 seconds. Of course, the race is not over. It's still 26 minutes to go. But unless he does a major mistake or gets compromised in a big way or anything like that, this could well go the way of Luca D'Amico. But Colin Blankenburg is holding up strong, especially in that first sector. Meanwhile, while this fight for P1 happens, Radoslav Piatkowski built a gap to Thomas Vakina of 3.7 seconds and reduced the gap to Dave Siska to below 2 seconds. So he might well be in contention to get past Dave Siska. Dave Siska, as said previously, very strong race so far. running in P4, making up 4 positions during this race while being spun out once. That's a huge accomplishment. Was involved in fights throughout this race. Kashmamish silently holding on to his P3. Had Stavko in behind him, who is 1 lap down. Takes a lot of grip though. It's hard to tell who did the most overtaking maneuvers in this race, to be honest. I think it might actually be Radoslav. Most of them were on Z4s, but overall being compromised in the start like that and then making up positions just to collide with Siska and losing all that progress again, now being back up into P5. It's also a big accomplishment for the Polish driver. Siska and Piatkowski also on the same tire strategy, came in halfway, changed fronts. But if Luca D'Amico were to win this race, it would mean that every GT Legacy race saw a different winner. In the first race in Brands Hatch, we had this man on top, Colin Blancbourg, who drove the SLS from Rover Racing to victory. Second race, of course, being, I don't remember. No, second race being Sonoma, with that huge fight between Robert Wiesenmüller and Marvin Mackenberg, which went the way of Robert Wiesenmüller. Then Bathurst 6 weeks ago, I think it was. Fight in the mountains with the Mustangs, which went Sven Mackenberg's way. Which, kind of unfair to say, but Marvin Mackenberg again in P2. So that was probably the most consistent finish throughout GT Legacy. However, Sven Mackenberg winning that race and Luca D'Amico on his way to win the fourth one here in Suzuka. Of course, this race would have looked totally different with the Mackenberg brothers in here, for sure. So we now approach the 20-minute mark, about 11 laps to go. While Władysław Kwiatkowski and Dave Siska getting closer to each other again. So P4 is not decided yet. This is also closed in on Gazpramish by quite a significant amount of time. Gained about 10 seconds over the last 25 minutes. But unless something big happens, especially with now the fight coming up with Władysław Kwiatkowski possibly, it will be hard for him to catch up to Gaspar in time. It's also good to hear that you two may be back for the next one, which is also pretty good because I've talked earlier about the event and we'll talk about it after this race has concluded. This is a very special one and maybe you are going to really enjoy it. Or it will maybe also feel special to you. Possibly to you more than to Sven. As Thorsten Leber has had a little spin out of the hairpin. Can see the roof is already understeering again. You will see, you will see. Siska last time around 2 seconds faster than Gazpramish. If this camera is up here, because we just broke into the 10-second mark to Gazpramish. They're approaching rapidly, but if they want to get close to him, they also have to get past Stovko. Of course, left car, but in the wrong place, it will cost you time. Very, very different lines by the two. Of course, also very different cars. Swadoslav close enough this time around. I mean, I presume he doesn't want to do the same mistake as well again. No, that was on the outside. 8.9 seconds now between Dave Siska and Gazpramish. But only 3/10 between Dave Siska and Władysław Kwiatkowski. So, calculations before the race said approximately 61 laps plus the in-lap. Currently looking like we do the 61 laps. Guess from is really sliding here. Can see he's always dragged to the outside of the turns. Just can't accelerate the way he wants to. Will it be enough for him? Or will it be enough time for Suzuka and Piatkowski to get close? Do they both know they are actually in for a shot at P3? Can we see there? Is that Stofko? Yes, it is. Getting very close to the edge of the track there, Dave Siska. But it's not Piatkowski to the outside. Saw the tiniest of gaps there and went for it. And Radoslav Piatkowski up into before. Takes it away from Dave Siska. With a very strong move. I think it's also the first move today we saw at the outside of 200R. Didn't cost him too much time either. A bit of a drift there. In the roof. Piatkowski seems to be a bit faster on this stage of the race compared to Siska. Both Colin Blankenburg and Gaspar Misch, who both didn't change tires, now really starting to feel the struggle. That's Erich Kartoffel behind Colin Blankenburg, who's a lap down. So, Siska and Piatkowski. There's still quite the gap to Luca De Amico, so they probably won't be lapped in this race. Sec Stoffpool lets them through. Very well made there by the Czech driver. Six and a half seconds a gap. It's very close. They are lapping significantly faster. Gaspar Misch's lap time was a 2:05 flat. This time around with the overtake. 2:03.9 for both Piatkowski and Siska. It's 1 second. We probably have 5 laps left. Possibly even 6. pretty much likely 6. If this were to be the case, it might just be enough. This lap so far, Kwiatkowski and Cisco have not really met up time. Okay, it just corrects itself now. But it's not enough, currently. Though, what is okay, Kwiatkowski's lap time was 1.7 seconds faster than Gashpamish's. It's pretty much the first sector and the last sector where he's losing the time. In the second sector they're not gaining nearly as much. Oh, and Gashpamish locking up the front, looked more like locking up the rears, but that definitely cost him time. And too hot into spoon. ABS didn't do what he needed it to do. Of course, with older tires it gets harder for the ABS to correct it. Lots of curb there, but here's Cisco. And now the gap. 3 seconds. Cisco also lost a bit of ground to Kwiatkowski overall. Can Władysław Kwiatkowski threat Gashpamish for the podium in the final stage of the race? 5 minutes 40 on the clock. Will be very tight if we run one more lap or not. Kademico, if he doesn't slow down, he has 7 seconds to spare. Might not be enough to cut the race 1 lap short. So Hadiamico is still lapping at an insane pace at 2019 on his last lap. His best lap at 2017.3. So from the first stint. Jaroslav Kwiatkowski as well with the 203.7. But he is absolutely flying. Hadiamico now across the line, 4 minutes 25, a lap currently, let's say 2:02. Means he would have to spare 16 seconds, and those he doesn't have, so you probably have 3 more laps. 3 laps to go. See sparks fly through deck now 1. The car slams back onto the ground. But Jaroslav Kwiatkowski is in slipstream range, of course, also in dirty air range. Means his big advantage through the faster turns might be diminished by a bit. Oh, and Gashpamish into the grass, losing the front end of the car. And that's Jaroslav Kwiatkowski up into the podium positions. Now does that open the door for Dave Siska to get back through as well, to get back his P4. Of course, under acceleration, both are not in greatest shape. Tires on these cars on the rear axle shoot nearly 2 hours old. But the front tires on Dave Siska's car are not even half the age of Kaspar Mischa's front tires. You can see that through those turns, the faster mid-speed turns, where he really gains on that Mercedes SLS. Now look at how close he is. And now into Spoon, possibly the Achilles heel of Gaspar Misch at this point. Oh, and Dave Siska on the curb, nearly lost the car. Was able to recover though, and he still has 1 more lap after this one. Possibly even 2. No, he will have to, because Luca De Amico, we can see him there in the background. He will come across the line behind them. Means they have 2 more laps to go. It's not so certain about Makena. Luca De Amico is fairly close to him. as he's making his way onto his last lap of the day. Let's get back to Dave Siska vs Gashpamish. They're getting everything set up for one move, for one less chance. He still has the faster car. It's big sparks fly. Oh, and Miss breaks into deck 2. Seems like there was no contact. And again, just braking very late. You know, Gashpamish was probably also braking a bit earlier. Now into spoon. Sorry. Sun gets a much better exit. Will the slipstream be enough? Don't go for a move here. We'll wait for the start-finish straight, perhaps. Because it's the bend lane behind that will dictate the last lap. And with a good exit, Dave Siska. Still one lap to go, boys. But not for him. Luca De Amico comes across the line to win the GT Legacy event at Suzuka. Congratulations, Sim. Was a superb performance by him. But Dave Siska against Gashpamish. Dave Siska on the inside. Gashpamish defending to the outside. Trying to switch back through the S's now. Colin Blankenburg also across the line. Congratulations to him. And then we have now the big gap to the cars behind. But this fight, 4p4, will go right down to the line. And Gashpamish to the outside, now the inside. Can Dave Siska use that to his advantage to get the better exit? He can, but he can't find his way past. Like, Władysław Kwiatkowski just slingshotted around the outside of 200R into Spoon. It's a better line through the first part of the turn. Does he get a good exit as well? Does look neat. Dave Siska to the inside, weaving across the track. Can weave once. And Dave Siska in slipstream to the outside has much more grip now. Can he do it around the outside of 130? Are they touch? Both are still driving. Dave Siska on the curving, but he made it. Dave Siska, oh, and they touch and both spin around. Gashpamish tried to make a move down the inside, I think. Swadowslaw Piakowski coming in P3 now, but Dave Siska with a hell of a move through 130R and then that contact in P4 and Gashpamish in behind, celebrating in style of course. But there you have it, those are your provisional results. Congratulations to Luca De Amico, Colin Blankenburg and Władysław Piatkowski for that podium. But Dave Siska, what a performance to get that P4. If I had to pick a driver of the day, it would be Władysław Piatkowski and Dave Siska. It would be impossible to decide between the two of them. They had so good performances on the race. And Ricardo Rebello lost gear shift twice. That was his issues in the race, so it was sim-rig related as thought. And yeah, what a race it's been. It's been crazy, right? And yeah, indeed nothing to lose with that dive. It was such a great finale to this race. Probably the best GT Legacy race we had, alongside Brands Hatch, the opening race. So congrats to everyone who made it to the finish. Hope you all enjoy. But now talking about the next event. I already talked about doing the race once, but of course those who've driven probably haven't seen it. It will be quite a special one, and I think I will just show you the trailer and then you will see what it will be. The KCG Season 2 champion, Krystall, Christopher Werner, wins race number 6. He is the mini Season 1 champion. Sven Markenberg is the KCG Season 3 champion. It's Ilya Dovosukov on top once more.
Mr. Haribo himself is gonna win this race tonight.
Marvin Bettenberg comes in second to win over his brother by 1 single point.
Strong Haribo was absolutely dominating today.
And Florian Arendt comes across the line. Colin Blankenburg comes out of the final turn. Yuval Rosen takes the checkered flag. Luca D'Amico in first place. Robert Wiesenmüller winning the GT Legacy event at Sonoma.
And Schau Kastnerka is
not yet.
not yet. Oh!
Oh, and down the middle the two go. What a... Greta is off. Keeping it around the outside, now on the inside.
I think Florian may have it here.
Sven Markenberg trying to follow Emmanuel Lopez. Oh, following music control. Oh, hitting Sven and Christian in the wall. With so much action.
Is he going to be able to make it around the outside? What an overtake by Sven Markenberg.
Can Marvin Markenberg overtake Robert Wiesenmüller in the final lap?
Because Christian Kröte has to defend here against the Lotus.
Parking it, and now Frank von Roos alongside for the left-hander.
Oh, double side by side.
There you have it. It will be our 3-year anniversary of KCG, and to celebrate that, we will be going to Silverstone, to where it all started, with the cars and track of the first race of the first season in the same format, so a 1-hour race, the mandatory pit stop with 2 tires and all that kind of stuff. And we will be talking more about KCG in this stream, because for today this should be it. I will post more information and stuff tomorrow, and I hope you had a great evening, enjoyed the race, whether it was driving or watching, and we see you next week in Rennsport at Road Atlanta, or in 3 weeks in Race Room at Silverstone. Until then, have a great time and goodbye.